Hello guys, we are going to talk about an action drama called Top Gun Maverick from 2022. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. It all starts with the legendary pilot, Captain Maverick. He has 30 years of service and hundreds of successful missions behind him. He is informed that the Admiral is canceling the program to finance unmanned aerial vehicles. Maverick is furious because everything is going according to plan. That same night, he decides to reach high hypersonic speeds without authorization to fulfill the plan ahead of schedule. The Admiral notices this and orders a landing, but Maverick pretends to have communication problems. A minute later, the Admiral sees the pilot doing the impossible and completes the plan ahead of schedule, but it was not enough for Maverick. Risking his life, he decides not to stop there. As a result, the fighter jet crashes, and Maverick miraculously manages to eject from the plane. The Admiral explains that he faces court-martial for this, but thanks to his many merits, the captain is given one last chance. Then he meets with the command and receives a new mission. They tell him about an unauthorized nuclear plant. It could pose a direct threat to allies in the region, so the Pentagon demands that the plant be eliminated before it becomes fully operational. The plant is located in an underground bunker and is reliably protected by modern missiles. The plant is also close to the latest fighter jets. Maverick immediately came up with a plan since the bunker is in the canyon. They can't use their best fighters as their GPS is jammed there. They will have to fight an air battle against superior aircraft anyway. The captain makes a prediction and says that it is almost impossible to complete the mission and unrealistic to survive. He explains that he was born to fly and will do his best, but the command believes that he must train an elite group of recent graduates. He has to do it in less than 3 weeks. Out of 12 pilots, he will have to choose 6. Maverick is horrified to see his partner's son, Bradley. The captain immediately dissuades them from this idea, explaining that the group is being sent to certain death. But the command sees no other way out, because he is the only one they can think of to fill the position. Later, Maverick goes to a bar. He meets his ex-girlfriend named Penny. The girl is angry because he promised to always be there for her, but due to an urgent 3-year mission, they had to break up. During the conversation, Maverick puts his phone on the bar, which is against the bar's rules. Now he has to buy drinks for everyone at his own expense. The captain notices the elite graduates, including Bradley. The guy is quite modest, which is not the case with Jackie. The pilots argue for a long time about who will lead the mission. Later, Maverick wants to pay off his debt, but his card doesn't have enough money. Penny decides to play a joke, and the captain is kicked out of the bar, not realizing that he is their instructor. Maverick watches Bradley with a pained heart and remembers the boy's father. During the war, they were flying together in an airplane and were forced to eject, as a result of which Bradley's father did not survive. The next day, the graduates meet the instructor. They recall how they threw him out of the bar, but the captain's expression shows that he doesn't hold it against them. But Bradley's expression shows that he is not happy to see him. The instructor reminds them that they are the best of the best, but asks them to prove it in practice. He has divided the pilots into groups and will fight against them alone in the air. The students are confident of their victory, so they offer 200 push-ups for defeat. But they soon regretted it. Maverick shows his skills. The graduates have the knowledge, but they fail to interact with each other. Jackie even decides to leave his partner, but Maverick wins. Later, Bradley shares with his partner that Maverick withdrew his application to the academy, which caused him to lose 4 years. Meanwhile, the command is unhappy that Maverick is endangering expensive aircraft and the lives of pilots. The captain explains that he just wants the students to return from the mission alive. The next day, he explains the plan. The missiles can hit objects above the canyon, so they must fly at an altitude of 100 meters. They have 2.5 minutes to complete the mission. Otherwise, they will be fighting a new generation of fighters. During the training, everyone fails except Bradley. Jack criticizes him because he did everything slowly. He had recently seen a photo of Bradley's father and said that during the mission, Bradley would definitely follow in his father's footsteps. After he said that, Maverick began to worry even more about Bradley. Later, the captain decided to reunite the group. The command didn't approve, but Maverick realized that without interaction between the pilots, they would fail. After that, he asked Penny out on another date and promised to always be there for her. At the next lesson, the instructor talks about the second half of the mission. They have to perform 2 miracles. The first is to destroy the enemy's defense, and the second is to hit the bunker with a missile. If anyone misses, the mission will be a failure. During the training, the pilots fail time and time again, but Maverick finally notices the teamwork. At one point, a bird hits the engine, but the pilot manages to eject. Later, Maverick comes to Bradley. The captain tells him that he will not forgive himself if his partner's son dies. In response, Bradley explains that this is his life, and he is fully prepared for the mission. The next day, the command is furious about the fighter jet crash, so they remove the captain from the mission. At night, Maverick meets with Penny. She supports him and motivates him not to give up. At the next lesson, the Admiral announces that he is now their new instructor. According to his plan, the pilots realize that they will definitely not survive. Suddenly, they see a Maverick fighter jet. It manages to fly over the canyon and hit the target in less than 2.5 minutes. After that, the admiral threatens to court-martial him, but because of his skill, Maverick is made the leader of the group. It's time to select 6 pilots for the mission, and the rest will not take part in it. Maverick chooses the best. Everyone expected Jack to be his partner, but at the last minute, he chooses Bradley. The next day, the group begins preparations and sets off on the mission. The army follows with missiles to destroy enemy fighters. The team manages to stick to their plans. As soon as the missile hits the military equipment, the newest enemy fighters appear on the radar patrolling the area. Maverick, meanwhile, reached the target and successfully penetrated the bunker's defense. Unfortunately, Bradley's automatic guidance system fails, but he still manages to hit the target. The plant is destroyed and everyone celebrates the mission. But for the pilots, the greatest danger is yet to come. They are attacked by missiles, but thanks to teamwork, they manage to survive. Then several missiles chase the Bradley fighter jet. It has run out of defense missiles. Maverick sees this and skillfully saves his partner, but another missile shoots him down. Jack asks for permission to take off to cover his comrades, but the admiral does not want to risk another life. He orders Bradley to return to the base. It turns out that Maverick has successfully ejected, but is about to be attacked by an enemy helicopter. Bradley suddenly appears and saves him. Maverick is horrified to see a missile hit the fighter jet. The captain runs to the crash site and finds the pilot unharmed. Maverick proposes a crazy plan. They go to the enemy base and take the old fighter plane. Once in the air, the control room receives a signal from Bradley. Unfortunately, 2 enemy fighters are approaching them. Maverick tries to deceive them, but notices one of the fighters moving into range. The captain decides to attack it, and the enemy fails. Maverick was clearly losing in speed, so he took a chance and got behind the enemy. Using the last of their ammunition, they still managed to win. On the way to the base, they are attacked by another fighter jet. Since they are out of ammunition, Maverick climbs and orders Bradley to eject. But the ejection system doesn't work. The enemy fires missiles at them, but at that moment, Jack comes to the rescue. They manage to land safely and are greeted as heroes. The team celebrates the victory, and even the command thanks the captain. Later, we see Maverick and Penny. The man kept his promise and was by her side for the rest of his life.